Welcome to today's video. Today I thought that I would take advantage of being at my mum and dad's house, which has the nicest kitchen ever, to make one of my favourite ever desserts, which is apple crumble bars. So these apple crumble bars are on my blog already, but since we got given some, I'll go get them, ginormous apples from our neighbour, I thought it would be really fun to make them together. The apple crumble bars have like 3 layers, so there's like a short crust base, and there's this apple filling center, and then there's like a crumble on top. The reason I made them in the first place and like created the recipe was because we love Cornwall, and Cornwall had a vegan restaurant, unfortunately it doesn't exist anymore, that we used to love going to, and they made these bars. And so this is our like homage and recreation of those amazing cinnamony delicious bars. Let's get going. Okay, so for the base we're going to start by, so I preheated the oven to 180 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, sorry. Okay, so we're going to start by making the base. To begin with, we are going to need 100 grams of brown sugar, and we are going to cream that, so like beat it, or you can use a spoon, with 120 grams of vegan butter and a splash of almond milk, like literally just a splash. Now ideally you will have an electric hand whisk, or if you're like you're on the Bake Off and you have like a proper whatever those machines are called, then you can use one of those, but for right now this is what we're using. So it's okay because the butter's fairly soft, so beating it's not too hard. Okay, and then we're going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. 1. That was way more than 2. And we are going to add, my laptop's right there. We're going to add 300 grams of flour, along with a pinch of salt. And then again, we're going to mix this all together. So you want this to kind of be a fairly thick dough, and it can take a little bit of time to come together, especially if you're doing it by hand. However, if it still feels really dry after you've had a good mix, you could always add another splash of almond milk. It really depends, you just got to go by eye. Sometimes I like to use my hands on this bit as well, it can be really helpful. If you do use your hands, let your hands be slightly wet, it'll stop the dough from sticking so much to your hands. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And then you just kind of lightly knead it together, and it kind of forms this dough that's like very movable, but it's definitely more of a dough than a cake batter. Okay, so from here we want to get a baking tray, like a lined brownie tin or something. So I'll go get one of those. So one of the problems with cooking at your parents' house is that I guess you don't always know what they've got. I was so sure they had a brownie tin, but they don't. Maybe I took it. Anyway, so I'm using a cake tin instead. I think it'll be fine. So I greased it with just a little bit of that vegan butter, and then I'm going to take this and I'm just going to use wet hands again, and I'm going to press it down so it's a flat base, just completely flat on the bottom of the tin. Pleased? Okay, so lined base. I'm going to pop this in the oven for about 10 minutes, just when the edges start to go like lightly brown. And then meanwhile we're going to make the apple filling. So give this a quick wash, and then we'll kind of start with that. Okay. So we're just going to start off by chopping the apples into really thin slices. So I kind of tend to chop it into a big chunk, and then slices like this. I find that just kind of means that you can assemble them quite nicely on top of the crumble. If I'm I'm honest, I don't know. I don't know whether we're gonna need both of these. But one thing we can do is, if there's extra apple, is we can just roast it like alongside the crumble, and then like it's nice on porridge or like on sweet toast. So we'll just do them anyway. Okay, so once you've chopped all your apple up, you want to make like the sauce stuff to go on top of it. So grab a big mug, and then you're gonna grab, so you want corn flour, but I don't have any corn flour, again, being with my parents. I'm just gonna use normal flour, and it's just gonna thicken it up a little bit. So we want 25 grams, I'm just gonna go with it, which I know is like a heaped tablespoon, so heaped tablespoon. And then we want 60 grams of brown sugar. So put that in. We then want 30 grams of either like a runny honey or a maple syrup. Both of them work really, really well. You just want some sort of liquid sweetener. And then you want 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and half a teaspoon of mixed like winter spices if you have them. If you don't worry, the cinnamon will be fine. And then we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of, I'm just winging it, almond milk. That'll do. And then we're gonna mix this all together to make like a sweet cinnamony paste. I mean, it's a bit thicker than a paste. Thinner than a paste, but you're just gonna mix that all together. And then from there, we're gonna pour that over the apple. And then just kind of toss the apples around, make sure that they're all coated and covered. Once that is done, we need to just wait for the base to be ready, and then once the base is ready, we'll get that out and we'll layer these on top. So once the base is ready, just take it out of the oven, pop it on top of it, somewhere that it's not going to burn anything. And you can let it cool if you can wait. I'm not a waiter, I'm not going to let it cool. And then you're just going to take your apples and you're going to start layering them on top. And kind of like the thickness is up to you. Personally, I prefer like just one layer of apple, but I'm not big into like cooked fruit. If you're really into cooked fruit, then have maybe a couple of layers. But just, you do want to make sure that the whole of the base is covered. You're gonna set that to the side. Again, we have loads of leftover apples, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pour these out onto a baking tray and bake them so they go like caramelly, and they'll just be like a separate dessert for another time. I just realized I forgot to mention, when you get to the end of the apples, you're gonna have like leftover sauce. Drizzle that on top of the sliced apple, and then that's gonna add to like the caramelly, sweet, yummy middle layer. So we're just gonna get that on there. Set that to the side, and we'll make the crumble. Don't worry about cleaning your bowl in between that stage and this stage. It's kind of nice to have some of those leftover flavors from the previous stage in the crumbly bit. We'll add the dry ingredients first. So let's start with the flour. We're gonna need 150 grams of plain flour, 100 grams of sugar, need 50 grams of oats, 60 grams of nuts. If I haven't got nuts in, so I'm just using walnuts because we already have them in, but if I haven't got nuts already in, and I get really fancy going out and buying any, then I'll just use granola. Granola works really well here as well. And then we're gonna add a little bit more salt and some more cinnamon. And then finally, we're gonna add some melted butter. So 70 grams of melted butter. Pop that in the microwave. Okay, and then just pour the melted butter on top of your dry mix with a splash of almond milk, and then just mix all of that in. And you want this to be quite crumbly because this is going to form the kind of crunchy part on top. However, as with like everything, if you feel like it's a little bit dry, you're just going to add a little bit more butter, or you're going to add a splash more almond milk. Don't let the mixture be too wet though, because then it will become like porridgey, and that's not going to go crispy. So you do want it to have a fairly kind of rough consistency. So you're going to take everything that you have so far. I'd like to use my hands for this, and I'm literally just going to sprinkle that all on top. Get it out, use your fingers, make it kind of rough and ready. Let me show you what this looks like from on top so you can see what I'm saying. So this is what the top of the crumble looks like. Crumbly. So we'll pop that in the oven and we're going to bake for 30 minutes. So the finished product, can you see how they've gone all, oh, it's not focused. Focus, focus. Kind of crispy. And I'll just show you the, over here. These are the apples. So they've just kind of gone all crispy and cinnamony, and they're like squishy, and they taste really, really good. If you leave them in longer, they'll kind of go a bit more crispy. Hopefully I'll show you, and if I can't show you, then I'll pop in a picture what they look like when they are cut, and like a side view. So this is an apple bar cut in two. So hopefully you can see all the layers. Yum! Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and baking with me. I'll write the recipe down below. I hope that you enjoyed watching me bake or baking along with me. If you do make them, let me know. Tag me either on Instagram or let me know in the comments down below. Or if there's anything else you want to see me make, I thought this would be like quite a fun series to do together. Whether that's baking a different recipe, something you want me to try and like make the best of. I have some really good chocolate chip cookie recipes. But yeah, let me know if you make them. I promise you they're delicious. And have a really nice day, and I will see you again soon. Bye!